Hello everybody, Todd here, and welcome to coverage of MC Jetty's Deep Resonance mod. Okay, so this isn't going to be a spotlight, it's not going to be a review or a tutorial. This is going to be a new thing that I'm doing, and I don't know if I want to call it a series, just maybe every once in a while when there's something I want to learn and there's not too many videos out there about it, then I might put one up. So we'll call it a What I Know series. So I'm not an expert, but these are the things that I found out through testing, and just thought that I'd let you all know so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel as a modded community here. So let me flip around. I'm going to put on my radiation suit. I've got the Deep Resonance mod up here. The radiation suit, it will block up to 95% of the radiation that is put out by that thing over there. So let me go over and talk about it a little bit. Okay, so Deep Resonance, let me back up because it makes sounds. Deep Resonance is a power generation mod. That's the main part. That's the power generation section that's going on over there. You can see with 4 crystals I'm getting almost 7,000 RF a tick. So what the things are, let me just turn it off. There we go. You can see it gave me a little bit of hunger. If I didn't have any of this on, it'd be way worse. Let me show you. You'll get to see the animation there. So I'll stand next to it. You get weakness, you get poison. I think wither comes in there somewhere. At one point I even got instant damage, or there was a tab that said something about damage. Oh, was that it? Anyways, and then it causes fire to the environment, so don't put this in your base. You'll want to put it somewhere else. I also started putting these dirt blocks because I want to see if the poison dirt that it creates, see, it makes radiation in the environment and poison dirt, if it was a cylinder or if it was a sphere. And it looks like I may need another dirt block to go up higher because it's going higher than I thought it would. So let's see, there we go, and then we'll pop these out just so we can see the difference, because I don't know if you have dirt stacked, I don't know if it will poison it. So let's see, actually. Oh, yep. Alright, so I don't really have to put spaces in there. Anyways, so these are the generators. It's a multi-block structure. It doesn't have to be a certain shape or anything, just, you know, the more you put on, the bigger the storage and the more crystals it can harvest power from. This is the generator controller. This is what you need to turn your generator on and off, and you do that with a redstone signal. This is the energy collector. You need only 1 per generator multi-block. And these are the crystals that the collector is getting energy from. You can see through the tooltip like how much power is left. It obviously starts with 100%, and then the purity and efficiency and strength, but we'll go over all that later. And we'll go over that kind of stuff later. I just have a battery, well, a capacitor bank connected right up to it just so I can see how much I was getting and how much I'm using. So you can see to make these crystals, I've got, you know, my power line going all the way over there. It's only taking, well, when it is making a crystal, it takes up to 30 RF a tick. It's 10 RF a tick for the smelter, which we'll get into, and 20 for the crystallizer. Anyways, so let's turn this on, and I want to do a test real quick. Okay, also to block radiation from the environment, we have a dense glass and dense obsidian. I want to see if that lightning effect, if it'll collect through this here. So maybe you can put the collector on one side, like inside of a chamber, and have the crystals on the outside so that you can change them, because you can see that the radiation isn't centered around the crystals, it's centered around the energy collector. So we'll flip it on, see what it does. Alright, so it goes through the wall. That's good to know. So when you're building your base and you're putting this in your base, this is the part that you have to encase in either this dense obsidian or this dense glass. And the dense obsidian will block more radiation than the dense glass. Here, let me show you the recipes real quick. It's just some obsidian and some spent filter material, and similar but with glass instead. What you might have just seen off to the side there, and if you missed it, just rewind, I guess. These are the pedestals. You can feed crystals that are made into the pedestals, and when the crystals are spent, they will, the pedestals will break them and put them into an adjacent inventory. So here they are right here. Just grab these and empty it out. And it has an internal inventory, and that's one that's ready to be popped into the spot once, once that one is spent. So let's go through the pieces here. This one looks big and complicated. This was my test one when I was trying to figure everything out, and then I tried to make some smaller ones. Obviously they don't have to look like this, but we'll go through the pieces real quick. Alright, let's get all this out of my inventory. Oh, here's something I wanted to do. In the meantime, I wanted to see just how much total you get out of this. We can see how much we're getting per tick. If I can find my pieces here. Control lever, and we need the generator, and I think that is it. And we'll do it way out here. But I wanted to see how much total you can get out of one of these things. Alright, so the generator, each block can collect energy from up to 2 crystals and 10,000 RF a tick. So this thing's getting big. It's not finished. I want to mention that ahead of time. This is a work in progress mod. So things that you see here, don't take it at face value. You know that 6,000 over there might not seem too big, but you'll be able to enhance your crystals. These are some purified ones that I had made. They're not creative crystals. So this is as best as you can get at the moment. So let's see what it is we can do with it. Build one of these real quick. Probably should have had it ahead of time. Alright. There we go. Now we're all set. Just pop that on. Start charging up. There we go. We'll see what we get out of that. Okay, so the pieces. You have your smelter. The smelter is where you're going to be putting your resonant ore. Okay. The smelter will needs power, so I just have a creative block going in there for ease. And then it needs a tank of lava underneath it, and then a tank above it to collect the resonant. Oh, great. Now I don't remember what it's called. Let's go back over here. I don't know. It's the liquid crystal. The stuff that you use to make crystals. So for this to work the best, to get the best quality juice out of it, we'll say, you need this tank to be about half full. You might have your own ways of doing this, but the way that I use to do it is I use logistics pipes. I think that you can also use AE and use like level emitter and stuff like that. I'm a logic pipes guy, so this is what I use. So you have your lava source over here. You have your provider pipe, liquid or fluid provider pipe, and that takes out from a source. And then you have your supplier pipe, and then if you click on it with a wrench, you can just tell it what you need it to do. So it goes in millibuckets, so 1,000 millibuckets is 1 bucket. I have it on none, so that if I were to go ahead and put some stuff in there, each crystal takes 30 of these ores, resonating ore. So we'll put 30 inside there, and we'll get it started. And then you can see as it uses 200 millibuckets at a time, it will take 200 millibuckets, and then just keep this right around halfway so that we can get the best quality stuff. And then we'll come back to that. So the best quality that you're going to get in here is 10%. Well, right out of here. And doing it this way is just 10%. What we want is, you can see the purity on the tooltip, it's going up. We want it to get to around 84, 85. 85 is the best, but it's really, really hard to get to because it's that very top percentage, and the machine hardly ever gets to that. What makes our purity percentage go up is the purifier. In the purifier, you need to put some filter material. The recipe for the filter material, some gravel, sand, and charcoal. A little later in game, you'll have plenty of that. At the beginning, you might not be able to make so much. So I have just an inventory full going into the back, and then it places spent filter material into an adjacent inventory. So that's what that's for. Okay, so the purifier, it will take the liquid from the top, and then it will go down through the purifier and then go into a bottom tank. But if you have these tanks all connected, then it just kind of goes around in a circle until it gets to the 85. Now this over here is a valve. The valve, you can set the parameters that you want to accept for the liquid. At the moment, there's not a way to adjust the strength and efficiency. So what you get out of here, see power and efficiency is at 10%. That's the highest that you're going to be able to go, and that's with the tank down here half full. If it were at a different level, then you wouldn't have that 9-10%. Okay, so we want to only make crystals that are close to the top range that we can go to. 85, it says the top range, 84 is possible, whereas 85 seems to be impossible, so we're going with 84. So once this filters around and gets to 84, then it will go down here, and then the crystallizer you have to put on top of a tank, and it will start to make one of those crystals. And it needs power also. So the only two pieces in here that need power that are from this mod, because obviously this is going to need power, and so would AE if you're using that, is going to be the smelter and the crystallizer. Crystallizer 20 RF a tick, smelter 10 RF a tick. And you can see that this was making over 1,000 per crystal. Okay, so let's explain what's going on here with this coming in the purifier. You would think that it would be purifying faster. You can see there it actually went down and then it went up again. What's going on is that it kind of combines the percentages. So you've got 10% liquid coming in through here, whereas this is already a partly purified solution. But what it's like if you needed some water and you needed it for 84 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, I guess. Either one works in this situation. If you needed 85 degrees temperature water, and this is the heater and it's heating up water, but if you keep on adding cold water, it's not going to get up to that 85%. Okay, that's why I only put in how much I needed for one crystal, so that once it gets there, then we're not adding any more cold water, to sort of say. And it'll then what's in here will go through the purifier until it gets to 84%, and then go down through here and then make the crystal. Now, one thing I've been wondering and haven't tested yet is that if it's full, if you actually fill all these up, then that means we won't be adding any more 10% in there. But at the same time, will the liquid be able to go through the purifier and then come out again? Because when the liquid goes into the purifier, it actually takes some of the liquid. It has an internal storage which you can't see because it only has this slot here. So once it takes some in, let's say if this fills that void back up, will that be able to come out and then have the cycle of purifying? So I don't know. I'll have to test that out sometime. So why I have multiple setups is I want to test a few other things out, like how to get this to go faster, because this is a slow process, and this is the basic that I've used or been able to figure out so far, without using other like fluid ducts or fluid conduits. So I wanted to see if you could do it sort of a tiered filtration process. So this one I have taken 50. So once it gets to 50, it comes in here, and then this way, this is 50 degrees, we'll say, and is not adding the 10% to the 50 degrees. So now the 50 degrees only has to get to 75 degrees before it moves on to the next spot, and then the last one after that, it's 84. So sure enough, it does go faster, but then I want to say, well, is it because of the filtration separation mechanic that I've got going on here, or is it just because I have 3 filters? So over here, I put where it will keep adding the cold water or the 10%, but it has 3 filters going on the same step. And it turned out that that and that is the same speed. So don't worry about doing the tiered thing. This works just as fast. It's just that there's more purifiers than this one, so obviously it's going to purify faster. Okay, so then material wise, this one, well, now I've added to it, but this one used 2 stacks and a little bit of this filter material. This one used 4 stacks, and this one over here used 3 stacks. So if you're a little short on the gravel, sand, and charcoal, this is going to be the one for you. If you have infinite supply, I would go with this one just because of size and everything. Let me talk about the tanks just because I haven't. These are tanks for the mod. They hold 16 buckets, and it's modular. So you can, well, modular as in you can add on to it, and it doesn't matter what the shape is, as you can see. It actually has a cool, like the way it looks, it might be cool for a wall because it's like, you know, you can see down inside there, but then the opposite wall inside you can't see through. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, so, and the storage capacity just adds to it. You can see in the tooltip it has like 0 out of 208 buckets. So what else can I say about this? Oh, okay, so we talked about the filter material, that if you did this it takes 2 stacks and then some. You know that it takes 30 ore to make 1 crystal. So how much lava does it take? Not counting the initial 8,000 that you'll need to get this halfway, you will need to get 6,000, well, I'm sorry, 8,000, 8 buckets, 8,000 millibuckets. You will need 6 buckets of lava to make 1 crystal. So in the end, once you have a setup, and you have this at the halfway line, each time you want to make one, it will take 30 resonating ore and 6 buckets of lava. So that's not too bad. Once you have this automated and going on, you'll be able to, you know, it will be pretty cheap for this type of power. And if you're using the On the Edge mod pack, which is actually what I'm in right now, you don't have things like the big reactors. I think generators are still in this, but I haven't used them yet, and they may be nerfed just because, you know, the whole idea of this mod pack is to use the mod authors mods, which is going to be those resonating deep resonance and maybe the energetic generators, which at this moment the energetic generators, once you have an Enderman farm going, makes more power than this. But like I said earlier, there will be a way to up the strength and the efficiency of these crystals, which will make them put out more power. And you know that that's coming because of the energy collector. Each generator being able to collect 10,000 RF a tick. So at some point, this mod is going to evolve into a way to do this. And then once it gets there, then it will be more powerful than the energetic generators. But yeah, you'll want to put this deep underground. Let's come look at our stacks here. It looks like it goes to about here. So what I was doing, and I think I said it earlier, I want to see if this was a cylinder effect or an sphere effect, and it looks like it stops. So you can put your setup down underground and then maybe have a tesseract or something pulling the power up for your base, or just maybe you'll have to have a line going all the way up if it's beginning power. And this is an early power to late game power mod. These crystals that you'll find, I believe that they're just down underground. They're in mines, and you know, you can come along and you can grab them, and then you just make one of these setups over here, and you pop your little crystal down, and then flip it on. You have some early game power. Now, the early game power, let's see if it does. It says there's 6 RF a tick. Not going to be too big, but it's not that expensive to make these pieces here. Each one of these is going to be using the machine frame. The machine frame just uses some stone and some iron, and these plates come from the ore. If you smelt it, you get 8, so it's a pretty good turn around there. And then so the generators you need for each one of these, just some redstone and a little bit of gold, and then the collector, some nether quartz, and then a little bit of gold, so you do have to go to the nether before you can use this. And the controller, where, here we are. And then see easy stuff too. So yeah, it is early game power, and then late game once you start to get the crystals purified. And the purified makes the radiation do less damage to the environment and to you, and more RF a tick. So you can see it goes up to 16. Let's take a look at where we're at. Only 41%. So let's say this is a little more than half. So we got 26 million. Let's say 24-ish would be halfway point. So it can go up to 48 million. So with each crystal, you can get 48 million RF a tick. If you have a production of these, maybe underground, then you can get it going. But really, I would probably use it at this point. I would use it in the mod pack for the early game power, and maybe some mid game just because of those numbers right there, the 6,000, and then slide over to the energetic if you're using the on the edge mod pack. But later on, once this becomes where you can do the 10,000 RF a tick, then that's probably where we're gonna really get into this and automate it, make it look cool and all that. Anyways, so this is just a little bit of what I know of the and this is almost at 83. Maybe we'll see it pop over. This is a little bit of what I know of the deep resonance of what I was playing around with last night. Decided to make a video. Let me know if you like. I'm just a pink guy. Let me know if you like these little videos where it's not really a tutorial or anything. It's just kind of what I discovered, and I don't want to put it into an episode of the Let's Play because maybe you don't want to watch all the Let's Plays. Also, this is I said before, this is an MC Jetty mod. He's got a Patreon page. Go ahead and go on there and become a Patreon of his. He will make a dimlet for you, a cosmetic dimlet, so that when you're making your own dimension, you'll have something that's yours. And if he reaches his goal of $120 a month, then he'll make a whitelisted server for his patrons, which would be cool because then we can all play together. So you all have a good day. I hoped you learned a little bit here. I learned a little bit from playing with it last night, and we'll see y'all another time. Bye. Cut. Okay, so I said that this wasn't something that would take you in the end game until it was developed. Why change my mind? Let's take a look here. I turned around, put the helmet back on. So I tried encasing it in dense obsidian. It's still the same amount of radiation coming out, so maybe that's not something that's implemented yet, but it is on his GitHub, so it's in the works. So, and you can see it just turned back on. So once you have a setup where you're making these crystals, they don't use too much power. Like, they'll last for a long time. I have 9 generators inside, so each one can do 2, which means that I have 18 crystals. 18 crystals at 84% purity will make, well, this is actually taken out. Here, see. It makes 30,000 RF to tick, and if you use the power monitor, you can send a redstone signal through this thing and into the controller, which will turn the generator on and off, and it'll send a signal if it is less than 50% full, and it will stop when it is 75% full. So once it gets up to 75%, then these things will turn off, and when they're off, they won't be using the crystals. So, and just with 4 of these vibrant capacitors, you know, that's 25 million RF. So, you know, if you're using power like that, maybe this won't keep you going, but for most people, this is, you know, this is pretty good. So, this is something that I will be using. I like this, and I also like the fact that this isn't where it's going to end. He's still developing it, and it's going to just get better from here. So, I just thought I'd add that in before I end the video saying, oh, this isn't something you're going to want to to the end, well, it is. It is something you're going to want to take to the end, and it's easy to make those crystals once you have a setup. So yeah, there you go. And see y'all later, once again.